Okay, again, welcome back. So we were discussing about underground pipelines, right? Yeah. So we are discussing the last point while we are ending up with the last session. So the biggest danger to the pipeline comes from the outside sources like unauthorized digging and also from the corrosion. So corrosion is the second case, and also the first case will be so unauthorized digging. Even we will see some of the cases due to the excavation or people doing some excavation with the JCBs or somewhere in the uh, east west Godavari districts. We hear that there is a gas pipeline burst. People have died or sometimes animals also victimized. The pipeline should be given a special additional protection to various points along the route, as well as road or river crossings, road crossings and river crossings. Generally, they may be placed at a greater depth beneath the rivers and also ditches to allow for degrading and also the ditch deepening. Concrete protection slabs may be placed above the pipeline to warn any who may excavate in the areas, so that whenever the concrete is there, so that the people will be familiar with that there is something is there underneath that concrete. And if the ground is particularly stony or rock filled, sand may be imported to cover the pipeline, or a special protective wrapping may be used. And during the construction of the pipeline, so all the wells are visually examined, generally the percentage or radiographed to ensure that there is no the cracking or overdue slag institution, that there is a suitable the fusion between the weld and also the parent metals. So there we do, even some of the weld joints they do X-ray also to see the quality of the weld joints. Even the pipeline is wrapped to protect it against corrosion once it is buried, and the wrapping is normally tested with the 15,000 volts pressure test to ensure there is no holes in it. Additionally, an impressed current cathodic protection system is superimposed to protect against the subsequent wrapping damage due to the stones or any other roots, etc. Then pipeline control systems should be capable of recognizing and also measuring leak conditions, and also initiating appropriate action to shut down the system, minimize the amount of product leaked. The leakage systems, pressure drop systems, or leakage detection systems has to be installed to identify and also to avoid the minimum product leakage. Okay. Again, this is in a color coding of the pipelines. As I said, we use in industries IS 2379. Okay, we'll see the basic colors where we use. Already we covered in the other chapters. We have seen the PDF also. I mean the standard document also. So here we have service cooling waters. All the waters mostly they are in a ground color, the sea green. When I say ground color, the basic color of the pipeline. In the first band, there they apply a band of color or other color strip, just a strip they will apply to differentiate the pipeline from the others. For example, cooling water sea green, even boiler feed water also sea green, and condensate water also sea green. The ground color is same, and the French blue or Gulf red or light brown. Or else, just a second, I'll I'll get that PDF itself. So better I can give an example by showing that. IS 2379. Okay, I'll share my screen again. Now I got the standard. Share my screen. That IS 237. Okay, this is the standard. So where you have different colors here use when you say ground colors. So the ground color identifies the basic nature of the fluid and also distinguishes one fluid from another. And the example of water from oil, the various ground colors are available. You could see that. The ground color shall be applied throughout the entire length of the uninsulated pipes for an insulated uninsulated pipes for insulated pipes on the metal cladding or on the pipe of the metal such as non-ferrous metals or on the stainless steels. Then color bands are superimposed on the ground color to distinguish one kind or condition of the fluid from other kind, or the condition or the same fluid, and one fluid from other but belonging to the same color. So basically, to differentiate the same fluid, we'll use this color bands. Okay, see, so these are the ground colors. You will have it is in full length. Okay, these are the color bands. Excuse me. Here the color band is for 25 mm minimum, so that it can be easily visible. Okay, if you consider this as a ground color brown, and the blue color will be the color band. Okay, so here you see these are different types of color bands. It is there, a first color band and the second color band. Okay, and this is the standard preference. So for cooling, sea green; boiler fluid, sea green; Gulf red or condensate water, light brown, etc. Okay, and even there are sizes also. For example, even you are applying a lettering on the piping. For example, this lettering, what is the chemical, and even hazard marking also we do. Then we do all the type of fluid which is going through. One is 20 to 30 mm dia, so where it will go for the size of the legend will be 10 mm, or above 30 to 50 inches 20 mm, 50 to 80 inches 30, and 80 to 150 40, and 150 to 200 it is 90 size of diameters. Okay, and even arrow marks, the pipe dia, nominal dia DN 200 and below, and this is how you could see the position of the arrows. For example, this is one size of dia, this is in a one size of dia. You will see the different size of diameters where you could apply your marks or positioning of the letters, or texting of the letters, so that it will be easy visible. Okay, okay, let us back to the presentation. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, then compressed air, I think who is working already in the organization, you could have seen this different colors in the pipeline. Okay, uh, sky blue you will see in the compressed air vacuum will have also sky blue with a black strip. Steam lines aluminum. Then diesel you will see the light brown. Lubricant oil shows the light brown with light gray color strips. Drainage you will see in black in color. Ammonia uh, carney yellow, and acids dark violet in color. Then brain solutions, it is black. Caustic solution, smoke gray. CS2 black. Air, you will have a sky blue with the white strips. And oxygen, canary yellow with white strips. Carbon dioxide, yellow again, light gray. Ethylene, dark yellow, ethylene oxide, dark yellow, and nitrogen yellow with a black color strip. And you have some double second strips also. So as we see, these are the diameters of the letters. Already we have seen identification of pipeline is necessary to avoid any mistakes while operating any valve or taking connection or opening the line for a repair or maintenance. For outside service means it is most useful. So sometimes you'll uh, assign the outsiders or the contractors for correcting your pipelines or leakages. Sometimes may they accidentally open the running lines also from the apart from the isolated lines. So it will be easy if you have the proper color coding and also the lettering, so that it will be easy for them to identify. Color bands are superimposed on the ground colors. As I mentioned, the minimum width of the color band is 25 mm with a ratio of the first band to the second band. So these are the sizes of the bands. Now, precautions in while breaking the pipelines. While I say breaking, it is not about damaging; it is about opening open a pipeline. So, prepare a work permit, tag the joint or a portion to be broken. So we have to write the work permit system when we have to tag the joint or isolation has to be done, and close or lock the isolation valves to stop the flow in the line to be opened and isolate the area. So the pipeline, the feeding, wherever from where it is starting from, the feeding lines or the valve has to be stopped so that we can avoid the flow, and then we can isolate the area. Isolate the means which we cut down the area to avoid the unauthorized entry of the people. Stop the pump and motors, remove the fuse, and so that the motor cannot be started. Maybe the point may be ulta. So we'll stop the supply if the motor is connected to the pipeline. If it is in a gravity flow, we can shut off the valve. If it is motorized, then we have to stop the motor. Then we have to apply a lotto, lockout and tag out to that motor to avoid the unwanted startup. Then drain, vent, and cool line completely. See that the pressure is zero and the pipe is cool. If it is in a hot lines, then we have to check. Drain, vent, and cool the lines completely. So we have to drain and vent the line completely. In case of any residues or the contamination, we have to allow them to drain and cool completely. Wear the PPE like hand gloves, face shield, apron, repair, etc. Depending on chemical, keep the fire extinguishers nearby. So the pipeline, like hand gloves, the PPE is personal protective equipment. Also face shield, apron, respirators, etc. Depending on the chemical, keep fire extinguishers ready. Support the line on both the sides of the joint. If it is, it can be hold it by lifting machines. Flanges, nuts, and bolts should be opened slowly. So we have to support the line the both sides. So if you are taking the line out from the pipeline network with the lifting missions, because the pipelines are lengthy, due to the center of gravity, the pipeline can move here and there. The flange nuts and also bolts should be opened slowly. The temperature flange guard should be put so as to protect from the splashes or dripping. First, the hottest nut bolts should be loosened. Then the splash, if any, may not be come towards the body. So opposite, the farthest in the sense which is opposite to you, you have to open the first uh, nut, so that nut and bolt, in case of any pressure, in case of any spillage, then it will not going to spill on our body. Okay. Dripping, if any, should be allowed fully. Then the adjacent nut bolts should be opened. So then we have to allow them to dripping, if any, then should be allowed fully. Dripping in the sense small drops will fallen down in case of any residue still it is there. Then the adjacent nuts should be opened to separate flanges A metal wedge may be used if necessary. A final bolt will be opened only after completion of dripping, and spark should be avoided if it is in a uh, flammable material which is passing through. Then after removing the choking by any scrapping or digging or drilling, remove the section of the line, valve, etc. should be uh, decontaminated by water, air, or purging inert gas. If it is not possible, it should be tagged within a warning or indicating the containment. So basically, we do this pipeline network damage or any leakage in case of any choking, which means a blockage of pipeline. This will be done by scrapping or digging or drilling. So there it is in any flammable substance. There we can have the nitrogen purging, so that we can able to avoid the accident. Okay. And also we have to use the suitable platform. Working by sitting on the other pipelines, ladder structures is risky. So while operating, we should have, or we have to use a suitable working platform instead of sitting in other pipelines. Even safety showers, running water hoses, fire extinguishers, absorbent, etc. should be kept ready for the use, and more precautions should be taken while the opening a deadline or the pipes whose content is not known. Deadline in the sense which is not using, or which is we are not able to understand the type of metal which is flowing through. We should take more precautions. Direct cutting by hexas or a gas flange without knowing the content is hazardous. The flammable, corrosive, or toxic contents may always be removed first. You can't directly cut the pipeline with an AXA blades or AXA free, and also any gas cutting. Okay. And implant transfer from the storage to the production place, the chemicals are transferred or also transported to as an user. So implant transfer, it is one of the method or uh, process where we transport the chemicals internally to an user place or another storage place. It may be from one place to another, or one side, or outside places, or within the factory premises. The chemical transferred in solid, liquids, or gases forms. Solids are transferred in the lumps or any powder form, or may generate dust, for which dust compression or extraction system is necessary. Then liquids are transferred by gravity. So when I say gravity, due to the weight of the metal, automatically it flows. For example, we will having, if you say a multi-store building, where you will put in a pipeline, the the water tank will be in the top of the building. Due to the gravity, you will get the water down. So the fifth floor, if I assume the 5-floor building, the fifth floor person will have a lesser pressure over going down. The ground floor person will have more pressure because of the gravity principle. And pumping or by water, air, or inert gases pressure, splashes from the vessels, pipes, joints, pumps, and also glands, vessels, and cracks are possible. The control of flow rate, safety showers, absorbents, and also personal protective equipment become necessary. The gases can leak through cylinders, valves, pipes, joints, vessels, gauges, etc. Flow rate controls, scrubbers, condensers, and also venting and safe discharge are essential while transporting internally. And through pipelines, so most of the plants have a system of storage tanks for liquids or even metals which can be easily melted. The liquids are pumped to measuring tanks from where they are charged to the reactors. We'll have basically storage tanks. From there, we'll get the date tanks. From there, we'll take it to the reactor. Sometimes from the storage tank directly, we'll take it to the reactors also. That is also kind of practice we can see in the industries. It is up to them. I mean, the feasibility, and also the network design, and also their process specific. A safe practice is to pump to a measuring tank and an overflow line returning the tank. Even overflow line also should be installed so that in case of any overflow, it can be again returned back to the tanks. The pipeline can be of various materials depending upon the nature and also chemicals. Uh, anil steel, stainless steels, polyethylene, polypropylene, PVC, glass, lead, glass lined or rubber lined. The pipeline should be well laid, giving adequate supports and provision for maintenance, and also painted for correct identification as per the pipeline color code. And pipeline carrying LPG and flammable materials should be properly bonded and also earthed. Isolation wall should be provided for easy control in the case of any breakage and maintenance. Okay, I think this point we covered already in the previous slides. Then we have drums, as I mentioned in the initially in the beginning of the class. So while handling liquids from the drums, the material can be emptied by sucking into a measured vessel or by pumping out using a small pumps that could go to the dung or opening. By a gear pump, air pressure should be used more. So with the toxic or corrosive liquids transferred by vacuum and using necessary PPC is the best practice. For the toxic and corrosive liquids, by vacuum, it is in a best practice to use for transferring. Solids can be discharged into the reactors by a drum titers or emptied onto an specially designed screw converters. Cut the drums should not be invariably used. Cut drums in the sense open drums we should not use for the transportation of chemicals. They can cause plenty of accidents as the workers are not careful to the hammered down the sharp edges. So particularly use drums must be covered. Special protection should be taken to preserve the chemical and also the product identified. Product identified in the sense the labeling also should be provided on the drums. Empty drums are not really empty if they have been used for solvents unless specially cleaned. So if you see in solvents, they'll be vaporized at the ambient temperatures. Basically, they are not empty. Empty drums are more dangerous than the full barrels because of the vacuum. The vapor pressure is more because of it is in an occupied condition. Then the dangerous chemicals like dimethyl sulfate and benzenol chloride, etc., required elaborate cleaning to really wash out the traces of the harmful ingredients. So elaborate cleaning in the sense it takes so much of time due to their viscosity. Then naked carboys and also glass bottles should be never transported. They should be transported in a wooden crates or any cases properly closed and also handled to avoid the damage to the containers. So carboys and glass bottles, these are having brittle in nature. So when we say naked, the empty or unprotected things we should not transport. Plastic carbides are very easy to handle and stubby. Special supports are required, usually provided to prevent these spillages. And conveyor belts are frequently employed for handling large quantities of chemicals when dealing with organic powders. And steps should be taken to see that the static charge is not generated. When you say conveyor belts, where you see in the fertilizer industries where they have bulk storages where they can use this conveyor belts. Then pneumatic conveyors are increasingly used for transport of from one place to other place within the plants. And gas cylinders should be handled with a right type of tackle. It is nothing but a trolleys. Also, certainly not thrown down, and also they should be protected against the heat impact, etc. And also they kept vertical. They should not be clamped or tied to prevent the fall. It has to be tied to avoid the prevent of the fall. I would say safe transportation of chemicals. So how we can transport? So the transportation again by road, rail, water, and air, as I mentioned initially. The containers are mostly standardized to ensure safety during the transit. And when the tank or tanker meets with accident or leakage, the way of creates a problem. A fire or explosion can cause harm to a public or property. Corrosive or toxic chemical can cause harm to a public, animals, birds, and also environment. Sometimes a grave emergency is created, warning to the public, speedy rescue operation, evacuation, and also calling helping hands may become necessary. When you're sending to a fire and explosion can cause harm to public and property. Whenever these road tankers, if they met with an accident in an air during or within the city while the tanker is going through the city, in case of any accident happens, if it is in a toxic chemical, then it is going to be in a worst case. Okay, it is not about only public, the animals, the birds, or surrounding environment can get affected. And sometimes the grave emergency means the major emergency is also created. In such cases, we could able to give the warning signals to the public so that they can able to escape themselves or they can safeguard themselves. Then while considering the transportation of chemicals, one has to consider the physical and also chemical properties of the product being handled, and whether it is in a solid, a powder, or a liquid or a gas under pressure, and the type of packaging, hazards, and also the mode of transportation of vehicles. So there we have to consider the physical and chemical properties of the product, and also the solid, powder, or liquid or gases under the pressure, or the type of packaging, and also the hazards and mode of transport which is suitable for such chemical. Then modes of packaging will have glass bottles and carboys, or some of the old packaging available for corrosive liquids or solvents. Some of the bulk industrial materials still being transported in the bottles, or bromine, mercury, etc. The laboratory reagents and also pure grade chemicals are also transported in the glass bottles for various sizes. Many corrosive chemicals like nitric acid also uh, sulfuric chloride, thionyl etc., are transported in the glass carboys holding 20 to 25 to 50 kg of the materials. So wherever the highly pure chemicals or corrosive chemicals or toxic chemicals, they use the glass bottles to transport of the chemical. And these glass bottles and also carboys have to be properly protected against the shocks. So in the sense, while transportation, they should not undergo through any shock so that they can break. And wooden crates or carboys, crates for the carboys, plastic or paper packaging for the bottles is usual. Dangerous chemicals are further protected by the packaging in a clay or other absorbent material, so that in the case of any bottle breaks, the chemical is absorbed and also causes at least a damage. So we have to protect the bottle from the breakage, but still it is met with an accident. If it got broken, then we have to provide the absorbents. When you say absorbents, spill absorbents, so that the leakage can be absorbed. We can avoid the minimal damage. And plastic bottles, jars and carboys and drums. So these could be constructed out of polythene, either of the low density or high density, PVC or other materials. Quite a lot of chemicals ranging from laboratory chemicals to industrial raw materials are being packed and transported. So the PVC and also the density, polyethylene or HDPE barrels or the drums are quite large type of chemicals is carried by this type of MOC, which is metal of construction. Industrial raw materials are being packed and also transported in a plastic containers. These containers may be further protected by the wooden cases, and the material must be correctly chosen. And several treaties or have occurred because strategies have been occurred because of the long storage. The plastic container becomes brittle and also chemicals leaked out. So we have to understand how the chemical will can interact with the barrel material. So if it is in a long storage, it will become a brittle. Brittle in the sense, due to the reaction, the material changes its properties, then it will become brittle. Brittle in the sense, పలికే స్వభావము విరుగుడు స్వభావం ఉన్న మెటీరియల్గా మారిపోవటం. ఓకే, then there will be a easy chance of breakage. Okay, so I'm stopping here. We can cover the rest of the slides tomorrow. So tomorrow I have a special request for everybody. Is it possible to attend the class tomorrow 7 to 9 or 8 to 10? I need your support tomorrow.
9 to 9 to
morning or evening, sir?
Evening. Sorry, morning, early morning.
Early
7
morning.
to 9.
Okay.
Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you please, if every how many of you okay with 7 to 9? Can you please raise your hands?
okay, sir.
Okay, 7 to
Sir,
9
early
is
morning.
okay. Early morning.
Okay, sir.
I'm talking about morning, not evening. Sorry, because I have
మార్నింగ్ 2 క్లాసులు కూడా అయిపోతాయి సార్. మార్నింగ్ 2 క్లాసులు కూడా అయిపోతాయా?
2 క్లాసులు అయిపోతాయి. 7 to 9 2 hours కదా మనకి.
ఓకే సార్.
7 to 7:45 మనకి మధ్యలో బ్రేక్ ఉంటుంది. దెన్ 8 to 8:45.
ఓకే.
సో 9 కల్లా అయిపోతుంది. ఓకే
సార్.
Okay, thanks. Just for one day. Okay, fine. Thank you so much for your flexibility, so that you people also can plan something. Not morning. No, it is morning only. Shweta Pal, I am talking about morning only. Okay, 8 to 10 somebody is talking. I could see most of the people are willing for 7 to 9. I request others also please be aligned with the timing, so that we can avoid any clash. Okay. Okay. Okay, any further questions?